So literally since the beginning of time, we have been purposely led astray, we've been misguided, and most importantly, we've been misinformed on how life actually works, right? A lot of us, especially in today's society, humanity isn't really in a good spot. Well, it's never really been in a good spot, to be honest. But, you know, a lot of us, I'd say majority of society, like majority of Americans, or just the whole world in general, right? I'd argue that a lot of us are just living lives that we don't like living. A lot of us hate our lives. And most importantly, a lot of us are living lives that aren't actually aligned with the kind of people that we ever envisioned ourselves becoming. And because of that, now it's like everybody's just living miserable lives, right? And you want to know the reason for that. You want to know the reason why your parents think that they have to, bust their ass for 70 plus hours in a week, right? You want to know the reason why there's people over here on the side of the street just sleeping on the side of the road. You want to know the reason why people are barely making enough money to financially sustain themselves, even though they're working so hard. It's simply due to the lack of knowledge. But if you were to take a look at all of the biggest world issues, whether if we're talking about economic issues, political issues, world hunger, just these huge like global issues, right? I think some of them is just a bunch of propaganda, but that's for a whole different topic, a whole different video, right? If we were to take a look at all of these world issues, they're all just rooted into one single problem, and that is the lack of knowledge and proper education. None of us have actually been properly educated and guided as to how these things actually work. We kind of just had to go through life and just kind of had to mess or fuck around and find out for ourselves, right? We never had the proper guidance, and we have been purposely misinformed so that we can live the worst lives imaginable. Just really sit here and think about it. Like, why am I living a life that I'm not actually interested in living? Like, why is it that I'm living a life that actually isn't aligned with the kind of person I am? Why is it that I'm just living a life that I just feel so miserable about living every single day? Bro, it's because of the lack of knowledge. We have never been properly educated and guided in the right things, in the right directions in life, whether if we're talking about how finances actually work, using your resources to their fullest capability, whether if it's about, understanding and realizing how the right foods to eat. It's like we don't know any of this stuff. We think we do, but it's like, no, we don't, because we have been purposely led astray so that we can all live the worst lives imaginable. And I'm saying this to help you realize that you need to start actually gaining knowledge and becoming informative on actually these things. You need to start, looking at the secret intricacies of the universe and life. You need to start actually gaining knowledge so that you can actually counter this life that you don't want to be able to live. You need to start doing these things so that you can essentially live your life how you always envisioned for you to be able to live your life on a daily basis. I've been purposely misguided, like whether if we're talking about school, education, the right foods to eat, the right diet to eat, right finances, politics. We have been purposely misguided and lied to about this stuff so that we can all live the worst lives imaginable, right? Because let's be honest, the people that are responsible of, running how today's society is, they're not interested in making you successful. If they were interested in making everyone successful, if they actually had an interest in benefiting humanity, I'm telling you right now, life would just be significantly different and better for the rest of us. But obviously, if you're just blind to this stuff, that is simply not the case. If you haven't already seen the stuff that's going on within the world, bro, these people do not have your best interest. They want you to live the worst life imaginable so that they can feed off of your negative energy, right? And in order for us to properly be able to fight back and actually start to live lives the way that we always envision ourselves to be able to live our lives in the future, we need to start gaining knowledge. This is literally the first step in order for us to be able to do anything within our lives. Start gaining knowledge, start getting information, right? Actually learn about the secret intricacies of life and the universe, how this stuff actually works. Actually start looking and studying, right, into the things that you want to be able to do in the future, right? Actually start to look into how you can start attracting blessings and abundance into your life, right? Teach other people this so that you can actually start to buy your time back from all the time that they robbed from you at your 9-to-5 job or just whatever that you're doing. And bro, like I feel like a lot of people want to overcomplicate what being a revolutionary is. Bro, it is simply you living your life how you always wanted to, how you always envisioned you to be able to live your life. You living successfully in your own way, shape, or form. Because as we all know, being successful is subjective, right? Because we're all different people. We've all been through different life experiences and situations, right? But it's just so important that you actually start to live life how you always envisioned yourself to be able to live your life. And the first step of that is actually gaining knowledge and awareness, spreading this knowledge and awareness to other people so that you can actually start to buy your time back, right? Making sure that you actually know what you're talking about, so that these people are actually living their lives how they always wanted to envision them living their lives, right? But I just think it's so important that we do this. And dude, you will never hear anyone else on this platform. I promise you, you'll never hear anyone else on this platform saying that you need to actually start to live life how you always envision yourself to be living your life, because it is literally the best thing that you could do. It is literally the greatest thing that you could do to actually fight back against the system. It's actually one of the most revolutionary things that you could ever do. It's to literally live your life how you always wanted to be able to live your life, how you always envisioned your future self living your future life. This is literally like revolutionary in of itself. This is literally revolutionary. Like, people are over here talking about, oh yeah, you need to be revolutionary by shooting up people. You need to like kill the police, yell in the street, fuck police, whatever, fuck the Pope or whatever. No, you simply need to live your life how you always envisioned you to be able to live your life. This is literally the most revolutionary thing that you could ever do. Start to sell this knowledge to other people so that they can also start to live life how they always envision themselves to be able to want to live their life. But in order for us to be able to, live our lives how we want to, in order for us to be able to become successful in our own way, shape, or form, that literally starts with the first step, which is information and knowledge. Bro, like literally everything is rooted at the lack of information and knowledge. Everything, right? And there's even a Bible verse that talks about how my people perish due to a lack of knowledge. I don't know what Bible verse it is. I might put it on the screen if I do find it. But bro, literally everything is because of the lack of knowledge. Actually start looking into things, seeing how they actually work. Why do they work this way, right? Apply this information and knowledge into your own life so that you can change your life for the better. Then teach other people about it, right? And then just literally keep it a loop like that so we can literally break the system. Like, it's literally that simple. People act as if, like I mentioned before, people act as if you have to be this crazy, this crazy ass nigga, doing all this stuff in order to call yourself a revolutionary, right? Doing all this stuff that you're not even comfortable with doing. You need to live your life how you want to ideally be able to live your life. And that literally starts with the first step. The first step, which is which is actually gaining and acquiring information and knowledge so that you're going to be able to change your life with that information and knowledge or experience, right? Like I mentioned before, if you're blind to the fact that the people that are responsible of running today's society don't have your best interest, bro, then I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Just stop coping, right? Stop coping. It's like literally as obvious as daylight that these people don't have your best interests. Like, it's just so obvious. Like, if these people genuinely had your best interest, if they actually had high hopes for like the collective consciousness as humanity, and just overall were interested in raising the frequency of the collective consciousness, which is humanity, or just the overall the collective consciousness. And what I mean by collective consciousness is anything that holds a soul, anything that resides energy in it, then life will be significantly different, right? Life will be significantly different for the better, right? Life will be so much better just for the whole of us, right? Life will be just significantly different, right? Just so much more different and not as complicated as it is right now. But unfortunately, that is not the case. You want to know why? It's because they already took the first step, and the very first step that they took was literally purposely misguiding us, purposely misinforming us, and purposely leading us astray so that we are able to live the worst lives imaginable. I'm telling you, this is the case. This is literally the reason why I personally believe like it should literally be a non-negotiable for us to be able to live our lives how we ideally want to be able to live our lives. And like I mentioned before, right, when people say you need to be revolutionary, they think, oh, you need to be out in the streets yelling, fuck you, Pope, or just, fuck the police, or like whatever they say. They think you need to be over here like acting like a crazy person. But in reality, the only thing you need to be doing to be a revolutionary, in my opinion, and this is literally the greatest thing that you could do to be a revolutionary, is to literally live your life in your image, right? And it sounds so simple, but it's very sophisticated, because a lot of us are not living lives that we actually enjoy living. A lot of us are not living lives that we actually envision ourselves to be living. And because of that, all of us are just living completely miserable lives. It should be a non-negotiable for all of us to become successful in our own way, shape, or form. Whatever success means to you personally, you need to do it no matter what, because there is no point in living if you are not satisfied with how your life is. And this is literally the reason as to why half of the population is living a life that they completely hate, half of the population is living a life that they're completely miserable about, and half of us are just ultimately living lives that we don't enjoy living. It is because of the lack of knowledge. All of these issues and all of these core problems that we deal with in today's society and worlds is simply tied and rooted down into one simple thing. It is the lack of knowledge. But yeah, y'all. So I don't know. But yeah, let me know what y'all think down below. This really just came from the bottom of my heart, bro. Because there's literally no point in living life if you're not actually living it in the way that you're actually ideally satisfied with. There is no point in living your life if you are not living it in a way that you ideally envisioned it to be, you know, in the past. Or that's not even a real concept, but that's for a different topic. But yeah, y'all, let me know y'all thoughts down below in the comments. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video off that. Thank y'all for watching, and that's King Wellness, and I'm out.